What is going on, people? It is Uncle Nick,
Dirty Andy,
and this is our little show. This will be the first episode and hopefully many to come. But basically, this time we are going to be talking about something that Andy is very knowledgeable in, and that is our top three strongman of all time.
So we talked about doing best of all time, but that was kind of a little too subjective. So we decided to go with our personal favorites and talk a little bit about why those are our favorites.
Yeah, so as we go through this, feel free to drop your favorites, your favorite strongman in the comments below. Pick your top three, either of all time or in today's group of strongmen that we have. But make sure you comment below what your favorite is and what you think. So Andy, top three that you think were the best ever so far.
So again, like favorite, my personal favorite is a little bit different than like my list of best of all time.
Right.
And I'm a little bit biased on a couple. Actually, I'm biased on all three of my top three because I know two of them. Two of them are my best friends, and one of them I know really well over the last couple years. So for me, number three would be Mateusz Kieliszkowski from Poland. Finished second at World's Strongest Man.
Animal.
Just a phenomenal kid. Like as a person, just a crazy, amazing kid. Humble. Just does some of the just most unreal things that you could think of that you don't think would ever happen, and he pulls it out. Case in point, the stone this year. So at the Arnold. So on Thursday at familiarization over at Rogue, they had the stone out, and I think he tried to pick it up no less than 8 times, and the most he got it off the ground was about that, and everyone was shaky. So I was like, oh man, that's too bad, because I like him a lot. He's not going to do well at this event, da-da-da-da-da. Fast forward less than 24 hours, and he just straight smokes it and annihilates everybody. And that's not the first time he's done anything like that. He's lightning quick, explosive, and like I said, the reason why I like him is so humble. He's not, his head isn't big. He's not like, oh, I'm the best, da-da-da-da-da.
He's like 24.
He's so young.
24, 23. He's younger than me.
Yeah.
I'm 25.
Just straight beast. So that would be my number three. Number two is Mike Burke. I trained with Berkey for probably, gosh, what was it, 6, 7 years? In my opinion, I say this in all seriousness, but I understand if people are like, oh, you're ridiculous, but no hyperbole. He has the greatest grip in the history of Earth. You can take a minute to laugh right now, but trust me when I say this, Mike Burke has the greatest grip in the history of Earth. And then my number one is my brother, Brian Shaw. I've known Brian for, God, what, 12, 13, a lot of years. Been through a bunch of battles with him on his bag, handling for him at the Arnold's and Worlds a few times. Yeah, so those are my three: Mateusz, Berkey, and then Brian. Brian's, in all honesty, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I joke a lot and say all the time, he'll give you the shirt off his back. It won't fit, and it'll be sweaty. He'll give you food off his plate. No joke, even though he's 6'8", 440 pounds, he'll give you food off his plate. He'll give you $1 out of his pocket if you need it. That's the type of guy he is. He has time for everybody, fans, friends, just really giving with his time. He's been known to shut down the Arnold. On Sunday, after the show, he does booth time at Slingshot, New Age, Isotori. He just signed a new deal with a new supplement company. But we are the last ones out of the convention center on Sunday. All the fans have already gone. They've gotten their pictures. They've gotten their autographs. They've gotten everything. And Brian is the last one out the door. And as we're walking out the door, he's still stopping for people to take pictures and to just spend a minute talking with them, asking about how they are, asking about, what their competition was like if they've competed. So just a really good guy. Obviously, top strongman of all time. So those are my top three.
Yeah. So my favorite 3 strongmen of all time are actually close to his. But number 3 would be Mikhail Shevlikov, because I had a very brief exchange with him at the Arnold, and it was really cool to see because they were Russian athletes. in my middleweight, in the heavyweights, and he actually came over to cheer his fellow Russian athletes on. If I'm not mistaken, I think they might train together. But he took the time to come over and actually support all the other guys in the Arnold and all the amateur guys, and come over and really show his Russian athletes some love. And I thought that was an awesome thing to do, because you do not see a lot of pro guys do that, whether it be they're too busy or their ego, whatever it may be. But he was over there and really getting down with everybody, stopping to take pictures and autographs, and never turned a person down. And he looked happy to be there, genuinely happy. And that's another thing I like about him, is he may not be winning the event, or may not be winning the podium, or whatever it may not be doing well overall. But every time he gets up on that stage, it looks like he genuinely enjoys what he's doing.
And he pours it all on the line.
Every single time.
He goes all, I mean, his deadlift this year where his face exploded, like that was
that was the poster for Rogue.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
That was their big ad of him getting that pull, nose exploding all over the place, and him just grinding that rep out. Like, it was just amazing to see, especially in person.
Yeah.
But that's why he's one of my favorites, because he just seems like an awesome human being and genuinely enjoys what he does. Enjoys what he's
does.
Yeah.
He does.
Number 2 is Mateus. Just like he said, he's a great guy. He's younger than me, 23, 24. That stone to shoulder that everybody was uncertain of that anybody's even complete, he shouldered it 4 times. And when you have Magnus Vermagnuson up on the stage saying this might be one of the greatest strongman feats of all time, that hits home. You have one of like strongman royalty saying that about your lift. It is something to be proud of for the rest of your life. And I hope he cherishes that moment for the rest of his life. I'm sure he will, because it was huge. I mean, it got to the point where the crowd got so loud, and on the 3rd rep, they got silent. Because everyone was dumbfounded.
Right.
And then we ran into him after that dinner, him and Roundow. And they were just nice, cool, laid-back dudes saying, hi, how you doing? And congratulating them on their performance. And they were so grateful for a nobody like me saying, good job. like he was super grateful. And I would say my number 1 favorite would definitely be Brian Shaw. That's probably biased, because especially getting to meet him and know him and see him, and like he sat at 2 in the morning after day 1.
Yeah, on Friday.
And talked to me in his room about how to improve my deadlift.
That's the type of guy Brian is. Like, he had to do 3 events the next day and just up shooting the shit, you know, bro time, whatever.
Yeah.
And like, hey, training stuff, life stuff.
Yeah.
Like, his time is very valuable, but he's very generous with it. Whether it's somebody he just met that day or the day before, I guess he met.
Took me into cryotherapy with him. Got me into cryotherapy at the Arnold. And funny story about that. So Brian we're changing directly across from each other, and you can see him, like, you can see this much of Brian Shaw out of the changing booth. And I can't see over it. This is how much of me you can see. This is all of me.
This just got weird, Nick.
Yeah. Where'd I go? But I couldn't see over it. And I look over the top and I hear, shit. And I'm like, you okay over there, big guy? He goes, this robe doesn't fit. And I was like, yeah, you got a nice view. And meanwhile, I'm like, and he's just like laughing at me like, what an idiot.
Pretty much.
Me being me. And but it was just funny to see, like, that's probably a daily struggle for him.
Yeah.
Like, shit like that.
Yeah.
And it was just funny, like, just the way that worked out, and he laughed about it. And he probably had like an inch on either side of him to move.
Right, yeah.
But he was just so generous with us. I mean, he fed us those, what kind of meals were those?
The Icon meals?
Yeah, the Icon meals, which were pretty good. And just going over answered any question we had, volunteered information, and asked me about my events that day and offered advice on how to improve on that. And when I slipped with the farmers, he's like, well, here's how to prevent that. You can't change anything now. here's how to prevent that, and went over of like a checklist to do before you compete, checking the weights, checking the implements, checking the floor, making sure you have the right shoes for the floor. I mean, he is so calculated. Him and Andy are just so calculated, it's insane. And I learned so much from them at the Arnold, and then I'm super grateful for that, and that is why I'm biased in him being my favorite strongman, because he took the time, hours, to talk to me, Brian, and Andy, and just on how to be better.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, and we're going out in August out to Colorado.
CrownMountainStrongman.com. Check it out. What is that charity?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
He'll
but
put it on the screen right.
Yeah,
here?
I'll put it somewhere in here.
Somewhere around here. It'll be. He's good with that.
No, I'm not.
But we're going out for about a week in August. Brian Elsrew, Nick, and I going out, staying with Brian probably for a few days, doing some training, and then going up to the mountains to help out at the show Nick's talking about, the Adaptive Strongman show up in Colorado.
Casey Mitchell, I think, will be there as well.
Yeah.
It's a big thing for veterans. You've seen Legless John in here, and we have our fair share of adaptive guys that come through, and I almost enjoy watching them more than normal strongmen because the amount of willpower it takes to do what they do with the injuries and missing limbs that they have is impressive.
I think Brian Elsrew put it best when he said their best day is worse than your worst day.
Yeah.
And they're out there competing at elevation. I think it's up in the mountains. So we're anywhere from 7,000 foot of elevation up to 10,000. So they're going to be pouring it out for, themselves, for their family, for the country, for the friends, for the fans. So I'm super excited to see what those guys do. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and they made it a charity for those guys. So they actually, those athletes, all those adaptive guys and the people competing, they're actually raising money to fly them out and put them in a hotel for the night, which is awesome because you don't get that in especially in the amateur world. But to really put on a big scene for these guys has been a long time coming because they deserve that platform.
Right.
Because it is amazing. You've seen people do deadlifts. But what you haven't seen is a guy in a wheelchair pick up a dumbbell, load it onto his lap, get it to his shoulder, and then press it.
And not like a 25-pound dumbbell.
No.
Like a legit dumbbell.
And they don't have their legs to stabilize. Like, it's core. They get off balance, they can tip over. We get off balance, we just drop it.
Right. Bail.
Like, it's insane to watch. And then some of the legless guys, or standing guys, like one leg. You'll see guys one leg do a normal deadlift.
Right. It's crazy.
It's so impressive to watch. Back on topic. That was a good rabbit hole. Back on topic. So, in your opinion, who do you think are, outside of favorite, unbiased, the best all time?
So for me, I guess we'll do top three again.
Set the standard.
Top three, and I don't know that there's a 1, 2, and 3 for me as far as best all time. I think there's 3 top guys, and it's Kaz, Zydrunas, and Brian. All 3 of their records speak. I understand John Paul has a lot and won a lot. I understand Marius has the record, but as far as Kaz not being invited, they're like, no, you can't come because you're too good. By definition, he's on Mount Rushmore. He missed out on 4 years of his prime. He won 3 straight. They didn't invite him for 4 years. Who knows what could have happened in those 4 years?
He's a character.
Oh God, yeah. And then obviously Zydrunas winning 1,000,000 Arnolds, winning 4 World's Strongest Mans. Brian winning 4 World's Strongest Man, tying for a 5th. And then a bunch of podiums and 3 wins at the Arnold, bunch of second places at the Arnold. I think those 3, their records and their feats of strength, like Marius's record is his record, and his feats of strength will always have question marks because of the IFSA split. So yeah, I think for me it's Kaz, Zydrunas, and Brian. 1A, 1B, 1C, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I agree with that for the most part. But I think I would have said Sigmarsson. mainly because he was just such a big icon for the strongman world for such a long time. He had a very big draw. He was a showman, and he was just strong. I mean, and he wasn't like your big fat strongman, like abs, shredded, jacked dude,
mullet, that Icelandic mullet,
blonde mullet, the Viking mullet. I didn't know that was a thing, but he left an irreplaceable impression forever. He's got one of the most famous quotes in the strength game, and that's, "There's no reason to live or be alive if you can't do deadlift." Like, I see that all the time, especially in the strongman world.
Right.
And then Zydrunas, because he has been the man to beat. He's been the man that everybody compares everybody to. So as far as setting the standard to be one of the greatest all time, I think Zydrunas will be in there every single time. Plus, he just got a cool name.
Yeah.
Big Z, Zydrunas Zavickas.
Yeah, with his wins, with his resume, and then some of the things he's done. Like Nick talking about Magnus with Mateus and the stone being one of the greatest strength feats of all time. I think Zydrunas' 2010 axle, the 459 for a double, in like I think he cleared those in less than 30 seconds. Like that room was electric that year, and just with ease as he did that, as if they were speed reps. Like that's one of my all-time feats of strength that I've seen personally with my own eyes. So yeah, you know, over the last couple years it's kind of tapered off, but again, he's like 40. He's a lot of miles on the tires. A lot of injuries.
I mean, the fact that he can still do what he does.
Still makes the finals.
With everything that's happened. I mean, he seems to get injured just about every time he gets in Worlds now. Yeah. But I think that's just a testament to the kind of person he is. Like, he probably expects it, but he's like, it's what I do.
Right.
You know? Yeah. I mean, even to this day, people see Zydrunas in the roster and they're like, oh shit. Even at 40, 41.
Right.
And injured. So you can't underestimate him injured. You just can't. And he's always been that frame carry, that incline frame carry. That's been the guy that I think went toe-to-toe with Brian for the longest time. Like, it was always up in the air between them two, who was going to do it better. And that's leading to the third one. And this is no particular order. It's just my top three. There's no number to each. And then Brian Shaw, because you talk strongman nowadays, and you talk Brian Shaw. He's been dominant for the last 4 or 5 years.
7 years. Well, 2011, he won the Arnold, boat race, the Arnold. They had to change the events because they won it so easily.
He's got, what, 7 Arnolds?
What's that?
How many Arnolds does Brian have?
Wins?
Yeah.
3.
He's got 7 combined between Worlds and Arnolds. That's where I got the 7.
Yeah.
See, he's like the John Madden of strongman. But you talk strongman 2018, every single conversation Brian Shaw's name is going to pop up, because he is just very well-rounded. He can press, he can deadlift, he can move. You would not think that 440 pounds can move, but if you watch the last World's Strongest Man, every single big boy out there, Hafthor, Brian, Mateus, shit, what's his name? Goofy. Really goofy. Trains at Oudhaugen.
Oh, Martins
Lietzes. They can move, and they're fast. They're athletes. They're not just strong for one rep. And that's a real testament to like the new breed that strongman has become. I mean, you see 440 and you see this big round guy, but most people don't know at 440 walking in the Arnold, he was what, 20% body fat?
Right, yeah, 18, 20, something like that.
Most of the guys you see in local comps are well above that. And they're 100 pounds lighter. Like 440 at 18 to 20% body fat at 6'8", they don't make those humans every day. And which is why I think it's awesome you got guys coming up like Mateus and I forgot his name again.
Martins
Lietzes. which he's a very entertaining guy, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
He was sitting right behind us at the Arnold.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he bumped into me, tripped up the stairs, and just him being him was like, "I'm sorry, it's the hips." Like he's just a big goof. Like he's just a lovable guy. Like he's just funny. That'd be my top 3.
Yeah.
And we're pretty common. We shared a lot of similarities. And let us know what you guys think down in the comment section.
Sure.
Because we definitely look at that stuff. I'm curious to see what your guys' input is. But yeah, guys, that was the first. This is the first in many to come, hopefully, of the Uncle Nick and Andy show, or Dirty Andy and Uncle Nick. However you guys want to. You know what? I'll let you guys vote. Do you want Uncle Nick and Dirty Andy show, or Dirty Andy and Uncle Nick show?
Vote below. There's a
Vote
lot
below.
going on below.
Just.
It is busy down there.
It's busy.
It is busy.
It is busy. Downstairs.
Downstairs.
Party's downstairs. But anyways, guys, until the next time, you know what the deal is. Get out there, get after it, and embrace the suck. Oh, nailed it, son.
You need another camera looking at this camera.
Damn it.